Friends, happy Wednesday. All right, let me make sure this is up. Our internet has been terrible, but that doesn't seem to affect the phone recording and the continuation of the video on Facebook, but I hope I'm going to be able to see your comments tonight, because if anyone's making along, we might have questions. All right, there I am. I see it. I don't hear it. Hi, Karen. Can you hear me? I can't hear myself. Happy hump day. Yeah. Can you hear me? Okay. Thank you. And hello, Cheryl. Okay, hi guys, thanks for joining me. I can't hear myself. I think it's working though, so just let me know if that changes. All right, so pretty much the same announcements as last week. The designer paper sale ends August 2nd, so if there's any papers you wanted to get before then, make sure you get that in by August 2nd. And I believe it's August 2nd. Yes. Okay, and my product share orders are due, well, the payment is due by August 2nd. There are instructions on my website how to order. It's on the menu bar under product shares. Okay, so I will order everything that's paid for on August 3rd and then get those back out to you within 2 weeks. Okay. Hi, Chris. Okay, good. All right, good. I'm glad you guys can hear. All right, so I was really excited about this project. I cased it from Bianca Oberauer, who did a project in metric, and I kind of converted her measurements, but then also figured out how to alter this little box for different sizes. Okay, so it is a no adhesive box, just kind of like an origami fold. Okay, so I made a band around it just with the designer paper. I'm using the Playmates, Penguin Playmates. And you see it's kind of got an angled side there. And then when this folds open, it's just a rectangle of paper. Okay, so I put Halloween candy in it because that's all that's available right now. But this box is one rectangle of paper. Okay, so that's super fun and easy. And you don't need any dies, you don't need any special tools, just whatever you want to decorate it. And of course, our pretty paper. And our paper is thick enough that it can, hold up to this. It can do this. All right, so again, it just kind of all rolls up together and it holds shut on its own. And I thought if you wanted to, we could make this together. I'll go through the folding really slow, so if anyone wants to try to make along tonight, we do make alongs all the time on our team meetings, and it's really fun. But that's on Zoom, where you can interact a little easier because you've got a picture screen for each person. So we can try this and see how it goes tonight. If you like it, I can do more like this. Okay, but you can make this in different sizes, and like I said, I think the easiest one to make is the largest one here. Okay, so this is the same thing, and that's why I asked you to bring a 12 by 12 piece of paper, because then you can keep that as your sample. And like I said, it's a little easier to construct, and you can even take notes on it if you want. But it's the same thing. There's that diagonal end here. I'm going to show you this way how it opens up. And it just opens like so. So you would have this much space. If I tip this back, this is like the lid over here, and this is the box bottom. Okay, and like I said, it's one rectangle of paper. Okay, so we're going to make one this size. I'm going to go through that a little more slowly than I normally do my projects in case anyone's making along. And like I said, if you have brought a 12 by 12 piece of designer paper, we'll get started. Don't worry too much about the dimensions. I'll have them all posted tomorrow. In terms of taking notes. And after we make the big one, I want to talk to you about how to modify it to any size. All right, so grab your trimmer. And if you have a directional paper like I have, you want the whatever's directional to be, well, I guess this would be kind of like portrait. You see the long dimension is vertical and the short dimension is across in relation to the prints. Okay, so we're going to cut this 9.5 inch wide. Okay, and I'll just put mine right on the trimmer so you can see the direction of the animals in case you have a directional print. Okay, so this is going to be 9.5 inches wide. Let's get that. And then it needs to be 11 7/8 inches long. So we're cutting off 1/8 inch from the bottom of the paper. You'll understand that better, why that's such a quirky measurement, after I explain how to modify this for other sizes. Okay, so that's 11 7/8. All right, I'm going to do my scoring on the trimmer. And the one thing I would say about this that's notable, that end dimension, the square end, is a 2 3/8 inch square. Okay, so that's kind of important as we consider the other sizes, so just keep that in mind. But as we get started, that gives us the first dimension to score vertically. Okay, so we're going to score at 2 3/8. I'm so slow on this because I usually use my scoring board. And we're going to score also 2 3/8 from the other side, which will be 7 1/8. Okay, but you could flip the paper around and just do 2 3/8 on both sides. Okay, and then in the other direction, we're going to score, again, that 2 3/8 inch dimension is pretty key. We're starting at 2 3/8, and then we are going to go in increments of 2 3/8. And that's why we end at 11 7/8. That's why the full length is 11 7/8. Okay, so starting here, 2 3/8. Oh yeah, of course, share. Chris, you're welcome to. The next mark, which will be a distance of 2 3/8 away, will be 4 3/4. And we're going to score there. And then 7 1/8. And 9 1/2. Okay, so there's just 2 3/8 between each of those dimensions. Now this last one at 9 1/2 coincidentally is the same as the width. Okay, and just as we think about moving forward to the other sizes, you could make this longer. You could make the box longer. You can't make it shorter because when we're folding, these centerpieces would overlap if you were trying to make it shorter. You cannot make it shorter. Okay, so I'll explain that even more as we go on to the other sizes. But for now, let's burnish all of these. Let's do the vertical ones first and make sure they meet pretty neatly in the middle. And work on that if they don't, because we do want that to work out pretty nicely. We definitely don't want them to overlap because they'll get in the way of the folding we need to do. Okay, mine are looking pretty good. Hi guys, hi Carol. All right, and burnish the other ones as well. Okay, so we have 4 cross lines and then 2 lines on the end. All right, so basically the pattern, this is a smaller one, is this. We've got our 2 3/8, which will be the end dimension of our box. This middle section was 2 times 2 3/8, and that's the smallest it can be because those vertical flaps will meet together there. Okay, so that's, this distance is 4 3/4. And then, of course, we have another 2 3/8 over here. And then along the length, the way this box rolls up and folds on itself, there's 5 of those measurements 2 3/8. Okay, so we'll come back to this when we start changing the sizes, but basically this is what you have, and this is what you have scored. All right, so with a directional print, you do need to consider when this rolls up and together, the basically the bottom edge of the paper is what comes around and closes at the front. Okay, so to see these in the correct direction, you're actually going to start with your pattern. If you have a directional print, you're going to put your pattern upside down. Okay, I've got this pattern on the outside of my box. Okay, so we need to turn the outside of the box facing your table, but just keep it so that, like, when this all folds up, you can see that's going to be going the right direction. Okay, so it gets a little trickier with the pattern paper, but you can get it. All right, so the first thing is, okay, we've got that print upside down and backwards there, or yeah, you upside down on the table and upside down in pattern. The first thing we're going to do is fold in this top corner. And just try not to go over the score lines, okay, because that might get in the way of folding. Just get that as accurate as you can and fold so that you've got like a 45-degree edge there. Okay, and that makes this cute little, that side diagonal I was showing you. And do that on the other side as well. Okay, and then these fold in together, and now we need to start making all of these kind of in and out diagonal score lines, which will create the box shape. So it looks really complicated. It's not that hard if you break it down. Okay, so the first one, and I'm just referring back so I don't say this wrong. If you look at this top horizontal line, that's critical. This is kind of a fold type that we've done to make other 3D pockets before, kind of like, if you can remember the little purses, yeah, you might recognize this. So this score line is critical. We're going to take each side of it and match it down to the side edge on its side. Okay, so you're going to create a diagonal across this square by pulling, I like to think of pulling this score line down to this edge. And the way I do that, I put my fingernail right at the corner point here, and I am pulling, actually let me do it this way so you can see better. I am pulling, see this score line is starting to pop up here? I'm holding that corner that I want to be the start of the diagonal, and I'm pulling this edge to meet this edge. And that's all these really complicated diagonals are each time. Okay, let me do that really slowly from this angle, because if you master this, you'll get the whole thing very easily. Again, I'm pulling this horizontal score line over to meet this edge. Okay, and that is creating the diagonal I want in that section. And I'm going to burnish it. Don't be too stressed out if yours doesn't fold perfectly the first time. This did take me a time or two, but yeah, it's really pretty slick. Okay, we need to do the same thing on the other side with this horizontal score line. This was the top one. Here, let me get it back in the orientation we started. We're pulling this horizontal score line over to this edge. I'm putting my finger where I want the diagonal to start, so I can pull that and get that score line, or get that diagonal to start right there. And I'm pulling that corner edge to meet the edge that was laying on the table. Okay, so this is the edge laying on the table. I'm pulling this one over to meet it, and then I'm going to burnish that. And those should meet, yeah, pretty close. Okay, and already you've got basically your box top that flaps over, and here's that diagonal edge that you see on the finished project. Okay, so in the next set of score lines, we're going to the next, actually we're skipping one horizontal. Okay, we pulled the first one down and we're skipping the second one. Now we're taking the third one and we're going to pull it up to this edge. Okay, so I'm putting my fingernail right there where I want my diagonal fold to start, and I'm pulling this edge to meet this edge. Okay, and I'm only pulling that top layer each time. Don't try to incorporate the back of the box or the underside. Okay, so I'm pulling that straight up into this 3D position and burnishing. That's the diagonal I want. Okay, so now on one side we've got two diagonals coming together here. Let's see, that one wasn't pulled over quite as far as it should. It's kind of forgiving though. It doesn't have to be super perfect. Okay. If anyone's doing it, I'm just going to love to see if you've made it through at the end. I'm trying to go really slow so you can see this, because I think this is a really cool box. It's really easy. I'm going to use this in my craft show in November. I think with all the holiday paper, we've got so much good stuff to pick from and also to decorate it with. Okay, so now on this side, we also need to make this second diagonal. Okay. So we're taking that third horizontal line and we're going to pop it up and bring it over and force it so that we're forcing a diagonal crease here. Force it over to this edge. And burnish that. Okay, so now we're really getting there. Okay, we've got all of this shape done, and we just need to be able to close the box, right? We've got the top, we've got the back, and now we just need the front of the box. All right, so the last step, this is the one I always have to look at my sample for. Okay. All right, this one we are taking the fourth horizontal and we're bringing that edge, let me make sure, yeah, we're making that edge down to this edge. Okay, so I'm going to put my fingernail right there where I want the diagonal. We need a diagonal fold right here. So I'm bringing this horizontal score line over to meet, I'm sorry, this is going to get in the way, over to meet that last bit that was down flat on the table. I hope you can see this. So we're forcing, this was the horizontal, and we're forcing it to meet the part that was flat down on the table. Okay, and then I'm going to burnish that. Sorry, it's going to be hidden while I'm burnishing. Okay, so that created that. So that created a diagonal here. Okay, so just think of this in terms of creating these diagonal lines in the right places, and then this will all fold up. Okay, we have one more side to do. Again, we're taking that fourth horizontal, and I'm putting my finger there to start here, to start the crease, bringing that horizontal over to this edge. Okay, and sorry, that's gonna hide the diagonal that I'm burnishing. I'll show you in a second. Okay, so again, this was the horizontal, and we've just brought it over to meet that edge. Okay, so now it's done, right? It doesn't look like it. Okay, so you can easily pop the box section together, right? And so that is, let me fold the top back. This is the section that you fill. So this one to me is a little too big, but I think easier to construct and see a bigger one than the smaller ones, which I'll get to. Okay, and then you've just got to kind of force the diagonal box top edges to go around everything else, right? Because it's actually the same dimension, so you're just kind of pushing everything up into it. Okay, and there you've got that diagonal edge that we created. That was the first one that we created, and the whole box stays shut. Now this is popping in a bit. That's just probably because as I closed it, I probably pushed on it that way. Okay. So at this point, I would just create a belly band and decorate. Okay, so this is what I had. Now, this belly band may not fit this box exactly. I usually, make the, oh, not too bad, make the belly bands after the fact. Okay, so there's the box. Now let's just talk real briefly. This is the size, and this is what my pattern is, that I would probably like to make the most. Let me just fold this up and put that back together. The finished size of this box is 1.5 inch square on the ends and 3 inches long. Okay, so this is 3 inches, 2 times 1.5, because these meet. Now keep in mind, like I was saying, you could make this longer. Okay, so for this particular box, let me just get it shut. There we go. Where's the band? I'll just have that cute little penguin. That's all you need. The dimensions, here I'm going to write in red. The end dimensions are 1.5. Okay, so that would be either of these square dimensions. This dimension across the middle is 3. Okay, it could be longer. 2 times 1.5 is the minimum it could be, and this is 1.5. All right, and then the full length was 5 times 1.5, so that's 7.5. Okay, so this is how you figure them out. You don't have to know all those crazy score lines. You just kind of have to know this. So the overall dimension of this one is 6 by 7.5. Okay, And that's how we get it. And you just fold it the same way we just did that other one and create this. Now, I really love our Halloween paper and our Halloween sets that are coming up. Let me show you them real quick. Here, first, the versions I made with our Halloween paper. The problem with our Halloween paper, I complain about this to Stampin' Up! All the time. They're 6-inch squares, okay? So that makes our life a little tougher. I think everything should come in 12-inch squares. That's just me. But what I've used here is our adorable designer paper. It's called Cute Halloween. There are 8 patterns, and you get 6 of each because they're 6 by 6. They are so cute. So like I said, this project is good for any holiday. And they're black and white on the back, which is kind of cool. So I just used, you know, belly bands with the backs here. Okay, another great thing about these is that there is a punch. Let's see, where's the stamp set is here. It's called Cutest Halloween. And then there is a punch that matches the stamp set, but also you could punch from the designer paper. Okay, I'm not going to do it here. You get the cat here and the pumpkin here. It's 3 different shapes on the punch. And I'm not going to do it because I would cut around and make sure I'm not ruining the other shapes for punching. Okay, but you can see the pumpkin and the cat here. And then you can get one of the ghosts here. So, like I said, I don't want to take that huge chunk of everything out of the middle of the paper. But that is super fun. And the other Halloween set, I love both Halloween bundles this year, is Frightfully Cute, which comes with dies. Okay, so I used features from this on my second, the larger of my 2 Halloween projects. Okay, so there's a little hat. Oh, there's this great black glimmer paper. Spider web, and some cute sayings. There's cute sayings and cute shapes in both. It's hard to pick, so I didn't. I got them both this year. All right, but like I said, okay, so the problem is the paper is only 6 by 6. All right, so I figured out the maximum box size that we could make from 6 by 6 paper. Remember, we have to fit 5 times the dimension down the paper, right? So 5, you might not like this because we're talking about 1/16 of an inch now. But if your end dimensions are 1 3/16, 5 of them will fit down the length of the paper. Okay, I've got my Halloween candy in there too. So that's a pretty good size. These are like little miniature Hershey's, but not the super teeny ones. Look at, they have Hershey fangs and tombstones. Okay, so this dimension, and only because I was maximizing what I could make from a 6 by 6 sheet, is 5 5/16. I think I've already cut that. Yes, I did. Across the top, instead of just doubling this end dimension, okay, so this end square is 1 3/16, and you can see I've added my length here, and this is what I was talking about. This has to be 2 times your end dimension at a minimum, but it can be longer. So I just left this paper 6 inches long. Okay, so it's, I know this is crazy, 5 5/16, but 6 inches long, just so that I could maximize the shape we could make. And we're gonna just do it the same way. And there are, this is where the trimmer scoring comes in handy, because you can measure to 1/16 on here. So, like I said, that end dimension is 1 3/16. Each of the small marks is a 1/16. So I'm just going to score at 1 3/16 on either side. I'm not sure what dimension I need to go, so I'm just going to turn the paper around and do 1 3/16. Basically, once you know the end dimension, it really gives you everything you need in this pattern, right? Okay, so you're picking that. You're picking how big you want the end square to be. Okay, so there's 1 3/16 on both sides, and then I'm just going to go down the line. Now these I have written out. This is going to be 1 3/16. So 4/16 would be a quarter, right? So we're just inside of that, so you can kind of check yourself. And then we're going to 2 3/8. Eighths are a little easier to find. Well, sometimes. Those are famous last words. Let's see if I get this right. 3 9/16. All right, so that's 8/16 is a half. So you know you're just going past a half by 1/16. So 3 9/16 and 4 3/4. Okay, and that is why if you add 1 3/16 to 4 3/4, that is why we have that crazy measurement of 5 5/16 for the length of the paper. But I'm just going to go through the folding one more time, and if you want to try again or follow along if you've made a sample. Oh, we can turn these ends in. It's pretty easy on this one because the ends aren't meeting and there's no way they're going to run into each other and encroach on each other for folding. Okay, but let's go through this one more time. I'll do it a little more quickly this time, but just so you kind of remember the steps if you need to refer back. Okay, so remember we're starting, we have a pattern on the outside. The bats, some of them are upside down. Okay, I think this is right side up. So I'm going to turn it upside down. And some of the bats are hanging, so they look right side up. And then turn it over. Okay, and again, starting with the corner, just folding in that first corner to give us that nice diagonal on the end. And here. Try to get as close to those score lines as you can without getting in their way because you want this to fold over easily. Okay, now in this case, we're going to do that same pattern down the edge here. We're starting with the first horizontal and bringing it to the corresponding edge. Okay, so let me put my fingernail right there where I want the diagonal. I need to make a diagonal crease across here. So I am pulling that edge over and burnishing and doing the same thing on the other side, taking the horizontal down to the side edge. Okay. Once you get the hang of this fold, it actually, there's a lot of projects that you can make little 3D things with this kind of folding. Now we're skipping the second horizontal, going to the third one, and I'm putting my finger on that edge so that I could bring that third horizontal up to the side. Same thing on the other side, third horizontal up to the side, this, and burnish. Okay, so we've got both sides with diagonals now. Now we're coming down to the bottom edge and bringing, like I said, I always have to check that one, bringing the fourth horizontal down to the side edge. I guess this will make it easier. Sorry, that gets covered up when I burnish that. Okay, on the other side as well, this fourth horizontal. Sorry, I'm just trying to get my fingers out of the way. The fourth horizontal down to the side edge. Okay, so then you form, here's your little box bottom. I can put my candy in here. It actually matches because it's Halloween candy. And then we are putting the diagonal edges around the box bottom and closing. Okay? Super cute. I love it. I just think that's so slick and easy and efficient. And yeah, like I said, I think that's a great table favor or you know, little stocking stuffer. Okay, I'm just cutting 1 inch of the designer paper, and I'm going to wrap this to make a belly band. I've already got some of my pieces cut here. I don't like to score the bands ahead of time because, you know, sometimes they end up too tight if your project turned out, you know, a little tight or a little big. I just finger crease them and then burnish them. And get a little adhesive here and wrap this up. The bats are confusing because some are upside down. The pumpkins are right side up. I guess that's your cue. But aren't these colors just so pretty together? Got the Highland Heather and Flirty Flamingo, that is. The darker one almost looks like polished pink. Okay, so let's see. I had some pieces cut to make the band. Maybe left those upstairs. Shoot. Oh, they got put under something, I guess, or oh, there they are. Okay, like I said, there's a cool spider web. I cut just a partial one for my sample, so I'm going to use another section of it for this one out of that glitter paper. This shape is part of the dies in that bundle, so I thought that was cute to use. And I brought just the bat stamp from that bundle. Gonna just stamp it in basic gray. And pop up the witch hat. And we have these really cool little cute stars that make a cute embellishment. Let's see, I'll use an orange one this time. Oh, I guess that's actually kind of pinkish in one angle. Hold on, I didn't pick under the adhesive. I don't have my pick tool here. Put that on, and yeah, I'm gonna struggle here because I didn't bring my pick tool. Couple of rhinestones, and I'll just kind of tuck the spider web behind, and a couple of dimensionals here. That will, you want the dimensionals to just stay in the middle here where they're going to hit the band, okay, so that you could slide the band on and off. All right, so there you have it. Did anyone make it? I'm just curious. I hope you will. I think it's fun. I think it's intimidating the way all of those diagonals look, but it's really fun, and you know, once you get the hang of that fold, they come out pretty quickly. So, all right. So, by next week, on the 3rd, will be able to order from this catalog. So hope you've enjoyed the couple of sneak peeks that I did. I'm missing something. Oh yeah, the smaller box was just one with easier dimensions. It was 4.5 by 5 5/8, and it just barely fit one of these little Reese's white ghosts in here, but it's kind of perfect for that. The dimensions were easier. I'll show this in pictures and show you the dimensions on my website tomorrow, but the end, if you want to just use my pattern and figure it out yourself, the end is a 1 1/8 inch square. Okay, so that made a cute little box. And like I said, I just punched from the paper the pumpkin and used that boo from the cute bundle, the bundle with the punch. Okay, so I got 2 Halloween and 2 Christmas there. All right, guys. Oh, thanks, Cheryl. Okay, I hope you guys try it. They're super. You know, they just don't use a lot of product, and they're fun. So give it a shot. Let me know if you have any questions, or if you want to post any of yours. I'd love to see them too. All right. Thanks, guys. Oh, thank you. Have a great week. Okay, I don't really see any questions. I don't see anyone admitting that they made them along. So, all right. Thanks, guys. Have a great week. Bye-bye.